This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network and our vast and growing family of broadcast affiliates across Canada, the United States, Central America, the Caribbean, South America, the Pacific Rim, 25 Asian countries, and now across Europe. If you'd like to give us a call, our toll-free number is 1-800-610-7035. That's 1-800-610-7035. Our email address is xzone@xzoneradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our websites, www.xzoneradio.com and www.xzonetv.com. Let me see. Today is Tuesday. It is the 24th day in the year of November, and on this date in 1859, Darwin published his theory on evolution. In 1871, the NRA was founded. On this date in 1874, barbed wire was patented. And today is, well, if it is your birthday, a very happy birthday to you from everyone here at the X-Zone Radio Show and all our affiliates. And hey, gang, 1 month from today is Christmas Eve. Hump day in a 3-day work week. Well, here it is. And Colin Hanks turns 32 today. Stanley Livingston turns 50. And Pete Best, the original drummer for the Beatles, turns 68. Now, what you need to know, a Canadian woman lost her disability benefits for depression when her insurance agent found photos of her on Facebook at a male strip club. 7 bulls being used on the set of a film starring Tom Cruise and Carmen Diaz broke free in Spain and slightly injured the two people. Cruise and Diaz were not on the set at that time. And the white glove that Michael Jackson wore when he premiered his trademark moonwalk in 1983 sold at an auction. Are you ready for this? $350,000 US. And finally, for the record, Sarah Palin's memoir sold 300,000 copies on the first day, which is more than Hillary Clinton, but less than Bill Clinton. When I come back from this 2-minute commercial break, I will be joined by the one and only Frank Ogden, who is known by millions around the world as Dr. Tomorrow. Once again, we're going to be talking about Frank's futuristic look, his futuristic outlook, I should say, on the way things are going. And you'll have to excuse me today, X-Zone Nation. I'm still battling that flu and cold, so if I seem sniffed up and clogged up, it's because I am. And we're also going to be talking to Dr. Tomorrow about his book deal that he's offering to everyone here in the X-Zone Nation. Here's our contact information. If you'd like to visit us on the web, it's www.xzoneradio.com. You can always send me an email to xzone@xzoneradio.com. On MSN Messenger, you can chat with us during the broadcast at talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And, of course, toll free at 1-800-610-7035. The X-Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, starts officially right now for Tuesday, November the 24th in the year 2009. The X Zone is truly a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. And then the show's repeated in its entirety from 2 a.m. until 6 a.m. on the Talkstar Radio Network. Dr. Tomorrow is with me when I return from this break, right here live and around the world from our studios in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine like hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining room can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you're visiting, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, Old Florida cuisine at its best.
Are you interested in the paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, or psychic phenomenon? Join me, Tim Bartley, co-host of Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, coming mid-January 2017 to the XZBN. We will channel spirits live and talk to them, revealing all kinds of amazing information. Spiritual attachments will be found and removed on the show, and so much more. To find out when you can listen to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, visit www.xzbn.net for listeners on both sides of the veil.
Welcome back to the X Zone. Dr. Tomorrow. Frank Ogden is my special guest for this hour. www.drtomorrow.com. That's drtomorrow.com. And joining us all the way from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, is the one and only Dr. Tomorrow. Hey, Dr. Tomorrow, how are things today in BC?
Oh, they're just fine. And I was just thinking that when you did your lead-in that, you're a lot like swine flu. Oh. You're global and you're viral.
Oh, thank you, I think. I hope nobody gets a shot for the X Zone, though.
Oh, well, I've got something that can relieve it.
So tell me, Frank, as a futurist, and that's exactly what you are a man who saw many years ago just a few of the things that we are seeing in today's technological world. You've been written up in the Financial Post as the 20th century visionary. You took Alvin Toffler's coined phrase, electronic cottage, in the 1980s further than that. And in 1979, you began monitoring 200 satellites and 2,000 data banks to provide a video clipping service for forward thinkers. Are we as far ahead as you thought we would be back then?
No, we're a little further ahead.
What do you see as
it's really hard, to keep up when first of all, go 50 years back, and America produced most of its own whatever it needed. But now you're getting it from, 200 plus other countries. And so it's all one marketplace. And you have to keep up to that marketplace. Like I said so often, you're living in the age of bulldozer. And if you don't get on that bulldozer, you're going to be part of the road.
All right, but when we look at the global trade market and how it's affecting us, there was a story today on CNN where some of the drywall that's being used in homes today that has been imported from China is now being found to not only cause health hazards, but isn't standing up to the weather specifications and the manufacturing specifications that U.S. Manufacturers are adhered to by the rules and regulations of the manufacturers.
Yeah, well, it's like many things. We built something 25 years ago, and it's far better today to rebuild it.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of things like that. It's just like diseases. Look, all the diseases that we don't get anymore, but we're living longer, so we get some of them as in our later years.
But is global importing and exporting and trade really necessary, or does this take away from the workforces of the United States and Canada? For example, if the drywall that is being imported from China was to be manufactured in the United States, that would increase job employment, and it would also help the local economy. So why don't we just knock off a lot of this trade and stick to made in the good old USA or made in Canada?
Well, it's because it's the survival of the fittest. Just like many people have said before, because you have to be ready for the tomorrow, and people are not ready, especially in North America. I think the Japanese are still the ones that are, they're born looking at the future.
You know, Frank, it scares the hell out of me when I call up Bell Canada or some software companies and I end up with someone in India that I have a hell of a hard time understanding what they're saying, because all the telecenters now are in India. You know, like, why don't we just keep the jobs here? Why are we giving jobs away and increasing the unemployment situation? To me, this means the government and major corporations are not working for the people. They're just working for themselves.
Well, you can't do everything, and there's 6 billion people out there now, and they're willing to work harder and longer, and in many cases more efficiently, at a lower price. But still, the whole world is looking for where's the best marketplace.
I understand that, but when there's so much talk about unemployment and the poor quality of workmanship that many of the importers are adhering to, because they don't have the strict regulations that the manufacturing communities have in Canada and the United States. You know, to me, this is all wrong. Keep the jobs in Canada, keep the jobs in the United States, keep the economy in the United States and Canada. Hey, let the government over there take care of those people. We don't need their crap over here on this side of the ocean. You know, and when I hear this...
You can't build up a barrier for that. In America, you can't even keep immigrants out of your country.
That's because they're not trying hard enough.
Well, you're building those big walls.
Why not? Other countries do it. Why can't the United States and Canada do the same thing? Hey, you don't like it here? Get the hell out.
The people outside of the country know how to dig tunnels.
Well, we should learn very fast how to, instead of build walls, build barriers so they can't keep getting through. You know what? I understand that the United States and Canada are both countries that were built by people from other countries, excluding the First Nations. And I understand that, you know, there are certain things and there are certain politically correct things that we are expected to do. But when you see the draw on the economy that shipping all these jobs over to China and India are causing to the local and federal economies, I think the federal governments in both countries have to step in, because what they're doing is they're saying, all right, so we can get product A in the United States or Canada for, let's say, $1. But if we go and buy it in Japan or China or India, it'll cost us 30 cents. Then we add on the shipping, It's going to cost us 75 cents. Look at this. We're saving a whole quarter. Sure, you're saving a quarter in one hand, but what you're doing is you're increasing unemployment in the other and welfare. So it's costing you more in the long run.
Yes, but these countries won't be the leaders in the future if we do everything right. You know, look at the terrorists, that's a real problem for everybody.
Sure is.
But they didn't have the money to have their own air force to any extent. And so what did they do? They said, well, let's steal planes and drive them into high-rise buildings. That's how they are doing many things now. Look at their... in Afghanistan, where and many other places, where the terrorists are knocking off more people with bombs and road hidden bombs than we do with our machine guns. And so they're driven to it. And also, remember, they have been trained to look for death. They love death just as much as we love life. And sometimes that's a disadvantage.
When you look at the entire scenario in the Middle East and Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran, the United States is the strongest Army, Air Force, let's say the strongest armed forces in the world. However, they are battlefield trained. What we're doing is we're sending soldiers who are battlefield trained into urban warfare, and it's not working.
Well, that's the way you have to change. They're ready to change so that they are at least equal to us. And now we're finding out, especially in Afghanistan and maybe many other countries, they know how to do it the hard way, and then it turns out to be the simple way and at far less cost. Most of the Canadian troops that have been killed there have all been done by the bombs just on the road.
Yeah. My suggestion is bring the troops home, because as I see it now, the United States has left itself militarily wide open to attack.
Oh, they are, and there'll be more. They haven't even used bio instruments of war yet. They're going to have all kinds of things. They can send all kinds of bacteria and germs, and just like the swine flu. And you're going to get more and more of that, and we're not ready for it.
What do you see as the biggest...
When you've been king of the hill for 100 years, you don't know what to think when they come sneak in and you can't take a drink of water out of your tap.
What do you see as the next major terrorist threat?
I think it'll be bio attacks. It'll be maybe they'll sprinkle something. Remember, here's what the Japanese did in the last war. They had balloons, and they were blown with the prevailing wind that went across the Pacific and all up and down the British Columbia coast here in Canada. They started forest fires.
Yeah,
nobody, and yet the wind. They worked with the wind, and they went off here and caused fire. Not much, but because it worked out. But they could get here and damage the country, and they just were taking their benefit from nature, and we didn't know how to handle it. We still don't know how to handle that one.
Dr. Tomorrow is our special guest. Frank Ogden joins us from Vancouver, British Columbia. His website is www.drtomorrow.com. That's www.drtomorrow.com. And the good doctor and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 1-800-610-7035 is always toll free. My email address is xzone@xzoneradio.com, and on MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X Zone continues, right here from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on Talkstar.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and Dr. Tomorrow is my very special guest this hour. That's our good friend Frank Ogden, all the way from Vancouver in British Columbia. And how did you get the name Dr. Tomorrow, and why did you want to become Dr. Tomorrow? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
I was getting interviewed by Sandy Ross when in Toronto when he was editor of the Toronto Star. That's biggest at the time, the biggest paper in Canada. And after interviewing me, he said, "Gee, Ogden, you're Dr. Tomorrow." I said, "I like that. Can I use it?" And he said, "Yeah." And I told my lawyer to get it trademarked the next day.
And the rest is history.
That's history, yeah.
Tell us about that book, that very special book offer that you are offering to the members of the X Zone Nation.
Yeah. What about it?
Tell us about it. Come on, promote it.
Okay. Well, first of all, I wrote these, what I called quantum books. They were, the spine was a little spiral wire, but they sold like crazy. Mm-hmm. And I wrote one a month for 15 months, nonstop, and then I started selling them. And the whole idea was to lower the cost. Well, now I was selling those at $10 a book, which was cheap for a book in those days. Some of my other books that I'm putting on the e-books were sold at $25. But anyhow, I had $15, $10 a piece. That's $150. But now I've gotten out of the Gutenberg era where you had to have a lot of machinery and printing presses and time, and it was hard to not only sell but to circulate them and deliver them. So what I've done now, I've got my own format. I use liquid pixels and light, and I can sell them. The whole 15 that was $150, I now sell them for $10. And the first one, that's the one I'm giving away to everybody. But remember, today you can cover the planet just like you do. And so I have the potential market is 6 billion people. Well, once I start getting a volume, then the price could maybe even go down a little bit more. Because, and it's very simple. I've got it all set up here, and as soon as any of the potential buyers want to get the free book, they send me their email address. I just hit 2 buttons here, and they get out of here in 8 seconds, most of them. But the whole library, the 15 book library, they go in well under 2 minutes.
Wow.
Just think. And think of this. If you wanted to send a book to the International Space Station, books weigh a pound. Their rate for anything that comes there, 1 pound, $10,000.
$10,000.
The way I do it with an e-book, I can send it for a nickel.
All right. Now, what are some of the titles of the books that are in this? Let's call it Dr. Tomorrow Library.
Well, they're like Beyond Work, and that's about the technology doing a lot of the jobs. Beyond the Body, what we can do with their mind and looking forward. And I think the mental telepathy will be here maybe not before I croak, but certainly before you do. And so you're going to have things that you never imagined before. Just like who could think of all the things when I was a kid that has happened in my lifetime. And it's accelerating. That's the big change. Change always happened, but now it's accelerating at a very, very rapid rate. I used to, going through my computer scanning whatever's on my screen. And I used to get 1, maybe 2 items a week. I'm now getting 16 a day.
Wow.
These are ones that interest me and that I will immediately spend time looking at and what can I do with those. Because when you have something the world has never seen, that's a big benefit, a big asset.
What has been the biggest surprise that the future has held that you've witnessed?
Well, it's longevity. Here I am, still a kid, and I'm 89.
God bless you.
And I got most of my marbles, and I'm relatively healthy. I've got prostate cancer, but of course that's quite fashionable today.
1-877-610-7035 is toll free if you'd like to give us a call and speak with the one and only Dr. Tomorrow, Frank Ogden, who is my special guest this hour. www.drtomorrow.com. That's www.drtomorrow.com. If you would like to get your first copy of Dr. Tomorrow's book, and which copy are you giving out, Frank, as your first copy?
The number 1. And they can read that, and the rest of them are almost identical to it, except they have different things like, under the water, higher in the skies, things that are going to be the future of tomorrow, because there's millions, literally millions of people around the world now, entrepreneurs, and that are coming up with something that the world has never seen before. And many of those things we can now do because yesterday's technology wasn't here 10, 20, or 50 years ago.
When looking into the future, what do you use to assimilate what will happen in the future? What do you base your formulas on?
Well, first of all, I deliberately did not go to university because I felt you're in a package there. And a lot of this economic problem, in my opinion, is because when you have a million MBA students that have graduated, they're all thinking alike because they were taught to think alike, much like the terrorists have been taught to. They were looking for death, and so because they've been sold. And the big thing now with the terrorists, they were promised 72 virgins, and now they're running out of virgins. So that's some of their advertising that they can't fulfill now.
Why is there so much hate and terrorism in the world today, Frank?
Well, everybody, it's changed. When they're changed, people get afraid. And also, so many of us have been taught to follow certain paths, and they were great. But today, you're going into a new jungle, and the new jungle doesn't have paths or guideposts or signs or no roads, nothing there is like it was the day before. And I spent about a third of my life in jungles, and I think that was far better than going through 12 years of a university. You have to be open-minded. You have to accept everything.
So what you're saying is that a person who goes to university has a very closed mind because all they know is what they've been taught, and they can't see outside of the box.
That's right. Box, qu'est-ce que c'est? But not only that, but they all know the same thing, and it's like a squadron airplane. If the lead pilot makes a dive and doesn't come out of it, the rest of them are following him, and that was what happened in the Devil's Triangle, south of Bermuda.
Sure. So let me ask you about that. What is your opinion on the Bermuda Triangle and other zones of mystery throughout the world?
Well, I ran into some people, and one was Jeff Sterling. He owned 14 radio and TV stations in Canada years ago, and he paid me gloriously to go through the Devil's Triangle with, or the Bermuda Triangle, with his $1 million yacht. And they have had a lot of fatalities there, but it's because of the traffic. It's like, where you have an intersection in Toronto or Vancouver, and you have a lot of fatalities because there's a lot of traffic. And so, in my opinion, the Bermuda Triangle is dangerous because they have a lot of shipping traffic.
And of course, during the heyday of the Bermuda Triangle, the navigational systems that we have in place today based on satellite navigation wasn't available to the mariners, and there are certain areas within the Bermuda Triangle back then that were totally oblivious to any radar communication, any radio communication, or satellite communication.
Yeah, well, it's just like a jungle. The ocean is a jungle without trees.
And
you think you can see, but you can't.
We're coming up on Christmas here, Doctor, tomorrow, and I'd like to know what Dr. Tomorrow would suggest parents buying their kids for Christmas.
Well, I just got my Kindle, and looking at it, doesn't look like much. I said, I'm paying $300 for that. But then once I opened it and worked around in it, remember it can hold 1,500 books. It is worth that price. And it's small, it's light, and for people that travel, boy, it's the thing to have. Like in here, of course, I've got all my these books that you just mentioned, and we're giving away free for the introduction. I have them all in there, and so and they make a good. If somebody wants to give a gift, get the Kindle and put my 15 e-books in there.
Now, for those people who are listening,
that's their future. What's in a Kindle is futuristic. It has to be to fit in there.
Describe the Kindle to our listeners who may not know what we're talking about.
A Kindle is like a hard drive, only it looks a lot better. And it can hold tremendous amounts of data, and that can be put in there electronically. And so what I did, I took scanned all the books that were in print. I had them in electronic format, and then I put them out as books. And they travel at practically no cost because they're going over the internet and they're downloaded. When I upload to ship them, it's only 8 seconds. And then when somebody gets the whole library, that's 15 books, they'll come in pretty well less than 2 minutes on any of the recent computers. And if they have an old one, it may take 3 minutes.
1-800-610-7035 is toll free. That's 1-800-610-7035. My special guest is Dr. Tomorrow, and his website is www.drtomorrow.com. That's www.drtomorrow.com. During the break, Frank, you and I were talking about 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar, all this doom and gloom crap that's going around now. What is your opinion of the end of the world scenarios?
Well, I think they're good in the movies, but I don't think that's what they thought. And they were pretty smart, but then they disappeared, so they couldn't have been that smart. And I think it's wise to hear those things, but not believe them, because there could be things far worse, like a huge meteorite hitting our planet. That, has possibility. But that's the hazards of being in the global picture.
There are experts at NASA who say that they would know well in advance that we
Oh,
were
yes,
going
I
to
think
be
they would.
we were going to have any problems with
Yes.
with an asteroid hitting the planet or any celestial event happening to that magnitude. Well, about
And
what?
if it was coming as it comes closer, they could erect some kind of a platform that could hit it and just tilt it 1 degree or something, and it will possibly miss the Earth.
Frank, stand by. You and I have to take a commercial break. X-Zone Nation, Dr. Tomorrow is my special guest. If you'd like to get your first complimentary book from the Frank Ogden Dr. Tomorrow Library, the first one is free. The other 14 will cost you, are you ready for this? Woo! A whole $10. How to get them? Well, you can go to www.drtomorrow.com and contact Frank through his website. Or you can send us your email to xzone@xzoneradio.com, and we'll be glad to forward that to Frank for you. Once again, that's if you'd like to get your free copy of Frank's first book. No, risk-free. You don't have to buy another thing. It's yours to keep. Send me an email, xzone@xzoneradio.com, or go to Dr. Tomorrow's site at www.drtomorrow.com. Still to come on tonight's show, we have our good friend Daryl Sims is going to be joining us. Daryl and I are going to be talking about alien implants. We'll be speaking to Jeff Belanger from ghostvillage.com, and then Dr. Alicia Stanton. Wow, we have a fun-filled, impacted, packed, and educational entertainment. Oh, wow, we've just got a great show. So whatever you do, don't go away. We'll be right back after this commercial break right here in the X Zone.
18 Sergeant Central. 19 Sergeant, check. Officers on the scene.
Hi, I'm Larry Lawson, host of Paranormal Stakeout. With over 36 years in law enforcement, I have learned a few things. The most important is the proper gathering and preservation of evidence is vital to putting the bad guy behind bars. It's no different in the world of paranormal investigation. Whether it's the search for the afterlife, cryptozoology, UFOs, and extraterrestrials, how we gather the evidence, preserve that evidence, and present it to a jury of our peers will make the ultimate difference in proving the existence of worlds and entities that are beyond our imagination. Join me, Larry Lawson, every week on Paranormal Stakeout when, along with my guests, we'll take a journey to prove with indisputable evidence what man has struggled to believe for centuries. Go to xzbn.net for the broadcast schedule and check me out at paranormalstakeout.com.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today. www.soulbalancing.world.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Frank Ogden is our special guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, www.drtomorrow.com. That's www.drtomorrow.com. As always, Frank, we love having you here in the X-Zone. What do you see for the year 2010 as far as futurism is concerned?
Well, people are going to see things that they never saw up till today. For instance, all this is accelerating now so much. And so we have to do everything fast. Mm-hmm. And now not everybody can take that. They burn out or they just can't keep up with everything. But I can do more with my computer now than maybe 3 or 4 people.
Wow.
Because so much of it is done quickly, electronically. Now, that's how I go books. You were telling me about you don't have enough staff to ship them out. But it's just hitting the button, so I don't mind hitting the button. I'm not that snobby.
What kind of computers do you see? What kind of computers do you see in the future?
Well, I'm biased. Since I started in this game 35 years ago, I've gone Apple, and I'm still on Apple, and I still love it. And my booking agent for my speaking engagements, I've been trying to get him Apple, and he's lost $100,000 because he had two major breakdowns with his computer, non-Apple. And it took him roughly 2 weeks to get the two incidents fixed up. He was out of business for 2 weeks. Can't be out of business these days. Happens again to him, who knows.
Time is money. Time is money. All right, quickly,
Right.
give us the information on how our listeners can get a free copy of your first book and how they can get the other 14 for only $10.
Yeah, and we give them the one that got free. We give them one in the package because it's cheaper to give it to them another one. Anyhow, all they do is they can do it through your services. Just get hold of your email number, and mine is drtomorrow, TOMORROW, at Shaw, SHAW, .ca, CA for Canada, and give me your email address, and the free sample will go out to you within 24 hours, usually within an hour, but we say 24 hours now, depending on when their address comes in. And you can take these books, you can do whatever you want. You can't sell them, that's the only thing, because it's copyrighted and trademarked. But you can show it to a friend, you can loan it to a friend, you can do whatever you want with it, as long as you don't get in the commercial bracket.
Frank, always great talking to you. Take care of yourself, my friend. Exonation, if you'd like to get a copy of Dr. Ogden's first book, visit his website at www.drtomorrow.com or send an email to drtomorrow, that's drtomorrow at shaw.ca. When I come back from the news at the top of the hour at 6.5 minutes past, Daryl Sims is my guest. We're going to be talking about aliens, alien implants, and UFOs as the X Zone continues right here from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.